ladies, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to recommend some LGBTQ plus books since it is June, which is Pride Month, and I want to share some of my favorites with you. This is part one of my LGBTQ plus romance recommendations. Since I have quite a bit of favorites, I needed to make this into two parts, so this will be part one and part two will be out later in the week. I tried to organize all these into categories, so I tried to do the best I could. So let us start off with my favorite Sapphic romances I have read. I will try to get through these as quickly as possible without going into too much detail, so this video won't be horribly long. I loved When You Least Expect It by Haley Cass. I read this one in a Christmas romance vlog. It kind of covers a lot of time, but it also includes like a holiday. This is about two women named Caroline and Hannah, and Hannah is married to Michael, and he is a divorce attorney. Caroline is also a divorce attorney, and Hannah is not happy in her marriage to Michael, so she asked Caroline for help in divorcing her husband. And they spend quite a lot of time together because it's kind of a difficult divorce proceedings. And also Hannah is a single mom, and so Caroline really kind of steps in and helps her out with her daughter. Her daughter loves Caroline, and so they just spend quite a lot of time together, and it is a slow burn romance, but it is so good. I freaking love this book. I love Haley Cass, by the way. I'm working through her backlist, so definitely recommend this book. And it also has a follow-up book because it's in When You Least Expect It is in Caroline's point of view, and then she has a shorter follow-up book in Hannah's point of view. The next is Down to a Science by Haley Cass. I just recently read this. It's the first book in a Sapphic romance series that is a collaboration by different authors, and I really love this one. This is about a heroine who is just finishing up her PhD degree, and she meets this girl at a bar. It's like the bar where she goes to study, and she meets her and they become really good friends. This is a friends to lovers romance and kind of unrequited love because when she realizes that she is in love with her best friend, but she doesn't think that it can work out. So it is really, really great and kind of short, on the shorter side. So if you're looking for a quick read, I highly recommend this one. The next one is Written in the Stars by Alexandria Bellefleur. I really enjoyed this one. This is kind of a fake relationship, fake dating kind of sort of trope. They don't think they're meant to be with each other because they are just so opposites. They actually go on this date and kind of see that they're not right for each other, but then they have to fake date for a situation, and they end up falling for each other, and it is so good. My next recommendation is Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashleen Herring Blake. This is about a girl who has moved on from her small town. Her father died, and she was left with her stepmother and her stepsister, and she is a photographer, and she moved away and because she did not have close relationships with her stepmother or stepsister, and she is brought back to town because her stepsister is getting married and they hired her as a photographer, and she really needs the money. And there she meets one of her stepsisters. Well, she doesn't meet her, but she kind of becomes acquainted with one of her stepsister's friends again, and she's also a single mother. This one I love so much. It's the first of a series, and I cannot wait to finish the series. The next one is Vibe by Liza James. It's been a while since I read this one, but I really loved it when I read it. This is about a girl who's in a kind of a bad relationship with this guy, and she meets this dancer, and they hit it off, and she really is infatuated with her, and she kind of helps her out of the situation, kind of shows her. It's kind of leads more towards a darker romance, but it is so good. The next one is Kiss Her Once for Me by Alison Cochrun. This one is kind of a holiday-ish book vibes. This is about two girls who meet each other, and they have the perfect day. They did everything, they just had the perfect snow day, and they spent the night with each other, and then there was a misunderstanding that happened, and one of the heroines ran away because she didn't understand the situation. And then they just so happened to meet, and it's kind of forced proximity because they are spending the holiday together. and they are kind of forced back again together, and they kind of have to face the misunderstanding that happened. They fall in love with each other again, and it is just a truly wonderful holiday, Christmas, winter romance. The next category I have is monster romance, fantasy romance, paranormal romance, anything but it's queer. The first one is Witching Moon by Poppy Woods. This is also sapphic, but I kind of, you know, since this is more of a paranormal, I've grouped it into this category. It's been a really long time since I read this book, but I did enjoy it when I read it. One of the heroines in the book lives in this different world, this different, you know, plane of time, and she is a witch, and the other girl, the other heroine of the story, falls in love with her and travels to, you know, her world, and it is a wonderful sapphic paranormal romance. The next one is a whole series. It's the Monstrous series by Lily Mayne. I have read them all, and I'm highly anticipating her next one that she writes for the series. I am loving this series so much. I've read them all in ebook form, and now I am going back as I get Audible credits. I'm spending my Audible credits on buying the audiobooks of these, because I want to hear their voices as well. So as soon as I have all the audiobooks, I'm going to binge the series again, just in audio this time. But the Monstrous series is, Earth is in this dystopian future. This rift has opened where these monsters from this other world comes through. A lot of them are bad monsters, but a lot of them are also good monsters. We meet a whole variety of monsters through this series, and I love every single one of these books. I cannot pick a favorite. Every time I read one, I'm like, this is my favorite, and then I read the next one and I'm like, oh, I just love them all. But it starts with Soul Eater. I just cannot tell you how much I love the series, and the whole series is MM. I think the author may be planning on doing a sapphic. I think the rumors are that, but for right now, they're all MM. The next one is also another series. It's the Creature Cafe series by Clio Evans. I love this one. They're all very short books, so these are very easy to read quickly and kind of get through the series, and it's a very bingeable series. We also meet a lot of creatures, monsters, and every book is different. Some may be sapphic, some may be poly, some may be MM. It just, you know, depends on that book. It is a very wide variety, and I love this series as well. These monsters are on Earth, and they are co-living with the humans, and in this particular town, the monsters are more prevalent, and it all kind of centers around this coffee shop. And I love that. I love that. That's usually like where they go meet up for their first date, and it is so good. I love the series so much. And then my last one is also another series. It's the Green Creek series by TJ Klune. This is also an MM series. This is about werewolves. It's a family of werewolves, and each one of them has their own love story, and it starts with Wolf Song, and I love this series so much. It will make you cry, it will make you laugh. It covers all of the emotions, and I love their stories so much. They're so sweet and so sad too, and I just loved my reading experience reading this series. My next category is trans. I haven't read a whole lot in this category, and I'm hoping to add more to it, but so far I have Starting from Scratch by J. Northcote. This is about a trans man who meets this guy. I can't remember how they met, maybe through a dating app or through a friend. He lives in a house with a bunch of roommates, and that's always kind of fun to see when they're all together, the friendship element too. But this is an MM story, and so good. This is kind of his first time, I don't remember their names, but it's his first time kind of dating, and he's super nervous about it, and he really fights a lot of his feelings and feeling like he is enough, being a trans man dating another man, and I just love this. I loved it so much, and will always be one of my favorites. The next one is Caroline's Heart by Austin Chant. This is kind of written in as a historical, but also with a little element of paranormal to it. I believe both main characters in this book are both trans. It's been a while since I've read it, so I'm trying to remember all the specific details, but I know at least one is, if not both. And he becomes injured, and she has to save his life, and the only way she can save his life is to give him the heart of the woman that she loved previously, which comes at a great sacrifice. She's been, like I said, this kind of has a more kind of a paranormal side to it, but she has been, because she is a witch, and she has been trying to revive her love that was killed, and so it comes at a great sacrifice to her, but this is their story. And then there is Love Language by Reese Morrison. These two men meet at this club. I believe that's the first time they meet each other, and they are infatuated with each other. This is an age gap romance, and male, and one is trans. The older hero in the story, and he has lost his partner due to death, and he has been grieving the loss of his partner for a really long time, but he's trying to put himself back out there. And so he goes to this club, and there he meets this younger guy who he's very infatuated with, but he's also fighting the feelings of trying, you know, to get over or to accept the loss of his partner and move on. And it is their story, and I loved it. I loved how they each gave each other strength, and it's just a beautiful story. And I'm ending off part 1 with some YA romance recommendations. This Autoboygraphy by Christina Lauren. I'm going to try to go through these pretty quickly. It's been a while since I've read this one, so I don't exactly remember all the details about it, but this is a male romance, and it is fantastic. I remember loving it so much. Of course, they're in school. So one of the heroes in this story, he is trying to write this book in 4 months. He is some type of class that he's taking at his high school, and he is being mentored by another boy there, and he is Mormon and is very against his family's beliefs to be gay, but they fall in love with each other, and this was their story, and it was so sweet. I just recently read What If It's Us by Becky, Abertelli, and Silvera. I didn't like this one quite as much because the ending was, I hope for more of a closure, but I know there's a second book. I just haven't read it. But this is about 2 boys who meet in New York. One is there for the summer because he has an internship and his mother is working in New York for the summer. And there he meets the other hero of the story. They meet at the post office. They don't exchange info, and they really want to see each other again, and so they search really hard for each other and end up finding each other, and they spend the summer together, and it was a really sweet story. It is kind of filled with some teen angst, but if you can get past that, their story is really sweet, and I loved how much they adored each other. The next one is She Drives Me Crazy by Quindlin. This is about a girl who is playing on her school's basketball team, and she broke up with her girlfriend who plays on another school's team. They used to go to the same school, but her girlfriend left to go to this other school, and now they're rivals, and they of course have broke up, and she has to play against her in this game, and she is just kind of devastated over this. She hasn't been able to quite move on, and she starts talking to one of the cheerleaders who they don't really talk, they don't really socialize with each other. It's really they're kind of hiding their newfound friendship of sorts, and but they really become close over this, and this was their story. I also recently read Home Field Advantage by Delilah, and I love this one, and it also has those same type of vibes, an athlete with a cheerleader, and in this one we have an athlete, Jack, who is the school's new quarterback. They find out that Jack is a really good player, so they invite her to their school to play on their team, to go to their school and play as their quarterback for their football team. And there she meets one of the cheerleaders. They are both closeted. The cheerleader, Amber, is in a fake relationship with her best friend because they are both closeted as well. And this is kind of their story. They fall for each other. Jack and Amber fall for each other, and Amber has to really truly learn what loyalty means when she stands up for Jack, because everyone in the school absolutely despises Jack, and she really has to make some tough decisions, and I so love their stories so much. And the last YA romance I have is Six Tris Venom by Penelope Douglas. I don't really know if this is qualified as YA, like I don't know, maybe, but they are in high school, so I put it with this category. This is an enemies to lovers romance. They absolutely hate each other. One girl is from the upper, class side of town. One is from the lower side of town. Their sides are enemies towards each other. But they both play on their softball team, I believe, for their school. And so they have to spend a lot of time together, and of course, playing together. Their teammate, they kind of have to figure out what they mean to each other, because they are both, of course, are attracted to each other and infatuated with each other, but they have never really wanted to admit that. So this was leaning more towards a bully romance, but not as heavy in that. And I did really love seeing them come together and accept their feelings for each other. So that is all I have for part 1. Stay tuned for later in the week when I have part 2. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.